Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lew is here, and this is the Health and Wellness Spot. I'm going to talk to you about gout. What is gout? What are the symptoms of gout? What are the misconceptions around gout and gouty diets? And what is the management of gout, or how do you reverse gout? Is treatment really necessary? Are those medicines really important in management of gout? So welcome to this video and enjoy it. Gout is an inflammatory condition. Underline the word inflammatory. Condition of the joints. So you get this accumulated uric acid. So the syllabus, that's what it says. That you get high amounts of uric acid in your blood, and then it accumulates or precipitates. First of all, it crystallizes, and then it precipitates in the joints, and then starts initiating this process of inflammation. However, there are so many people who have high amounts of uric acid in their blood, but it never causes them gout. There are people who have, and actually naturally, all of us have uric acid crystals in our joints. If you extract that synovial fluid and take a test, you'll see there is always a presence of uric acid crystals in the joints. Therefore, it begs the question, is this uric acid really a major player in gouty arthritis or inflammation? We will get to find out. So I want you to understand that most times you are told to do away with purine-rich diets, the red meats, the saturated fats, the seafoods, the processed foods, what else? Alcohol. These are foods that have high purine concentration or high purine amounts, and also the sweetened beverages. But I want you to take note of the red meat, the spinach, and the seafoods, and also the saturated fats. So those are the foods that you're actually told, we insist on you dropping them. However, nobody talks about the alcohol deeply, nobody talks about the processed foods and the sweetened beverages. It's because this is a business and it has to thrive. So when you break down purine or purines, which are coming basically from these foods, however, sweetened beverages don't have high amounts of purines, but they contribute highly in gout because of the fructose that is present in them. Okay, but these foods that have high purines will be broken down, and then the waste product of this end metabolite or byproduct of purine metabolism is what we call uric acid. Now, uric acid, actually in our systems we produce uric acid, and you'll realize when most people are fasting, the amounts of uric acids go up. Why is it going up when you're fasting, and fasting is a healthy way of living? Because uric acid is used by the body as an antioxidant. So it will detoxify your system in general, and also it is used to fight inflammation. So you can imagine if at all you're associating uric acid to gouty arthritis, which is an inflammatory condition, yet the same uric acid is supposed to help you fight inflammation, are we really doing justice? We start to ask questions from there. So I want you to understand that gout is an excretion problem. It is not an intake problem. The system focuses so much on what we are taking in, what we are eating. So it tells you to go on a purine-free diet or lower your purine diets. But the same system does not tell you that that is exogenous purine. So that is a source from outside. Internally, the system produces purines, which are called the endogenous purines. And how does it do that? During fasting, during breakdown of ATP to get the energy, during breakdown of DNA, and this is autophagy, DNA, RNA, the proteins, those cellular microorganelles that are there just wasting space, when you break them down, you yield a lot of purines. Those are the endogenous purines. And I just told you, they will yield uric acid that is used to help you detoxify the body and also kill inflammation. And these endogenous purines are actually 5 to 10 times more than the one you're taking in. So dietary need for purines is like 5 times less than the endogenous. So why would the body produce substances that are harmful to your system? That begs for a question, that is it really the purine, or there has to be something else that is causing this gout? Then we start to understand the major cause of gout is inflammation, whether local or systemic. Now we go back and find out what is causing this inflammation in the system. And you'll realize most inflammatory conditions are caused by insulin resistance, which is basically hyperinsulinemia. So your kidneys will reabsorb 50% of the uric acid that you're getting out of the urine. So you can imagine that. So So whatever you've been eating, you want it to go through the urine, but the kidney reabsorbs it back. If at all it was harmful to you, then the kidneys will encourage the exit. That's why I tell you there is much of an excretory problem than an intake problem. So therefore, if you're told to drop that red meat, to drop that spinach and that seafood, that person is lying to you. What you need to do is you need to fix the failing kidneys. Because once you have a failing kidney, that means you will end up retaining so much of this uric acid that will therefore end up precipitating and causing you, actually predisposing you to getting the joint inflammation, okay, because of that the crystallization of the uric acid. So therefore, how do you fix the kidneys? You realize number one cause of kidney problem is insulin resistance, which is basically hyperinsulinemia. And what is causing that? The obvious: sugar in all forms, including fruits and honey. Now, most people think that fruits are healthy. So the system tells you that fruits are healthy. And actually in gout, you're told to drop the red meats, the seafoods, and concentrate on juices, fruit juices, and the fruits, that they will supplement you with supplements that will help you recover from inflammation. But the reality is fruits have fructose, and fructose, same to honey and same to the processed and beverages and sweetened beverages, they have high content of fructose. That fructose does not cause any spike in insulin levels in your blood. I think that's where the misconception comes in. But fructose in the long term causes a fatty liver, and fructose has been associated with insulin resistance. So later on, you'll get back to the insulin resistance, even though it did not stimulate glucose or the spike in insulin, and therefore it did not cause you directly or in a short term into insulin resistance, but it took you a long way to get to insulin resistance through the fatty liver. So you should avoid fructose by all means. And that is what I'm telling you. When I talk about the exit problem, I'm just telling you, please drop the sugar, drop the inflammatory foods, start fixing the kidneys, and therefore the kidneys will do their role. They will excrete what is necessary. They will reabsorb what is necessary, okay? So your kidneys play a very major role in this. And if you have gout arthritis, you will start realizing most of these people are overweight, they have insulin resistance, most are diabetic, and they will never blame the sugar because of the sugar addiction and because of how the food industry has marketed their sugar and their processed foods. So that is how you do it. Now, what are the lies that hail from this topic of gout? Number one, that a low purine diet will help you fix gout. This is a lie. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because we already said that 5 to 10 times of the purines that you are producing are internal, not external. So they are endogenous purines. But exogenous purines are very minimal. So your body will still give you purines even though you drop that red meat. So that is a lie. Number two, that if you want to recover from gout, you need to concentrate on eating fruits and fruit juices, and that they are healthy, they have vitamins and nutrients that will help you recover from gout. Another lie, because fruits and juices, they have high content of fructose, and fructose will cause you insulin resistance through the fatty liver, and then insulin resistance will bring you a kidney problem, and that kidney problem will start accumulating uric acid in your system. Another one is that drugs will help you fix this condition. Now, drugs only treat the symptoms, and you realize the first line drug in gout is colchicine, then allopurinol. So these drugs are actually used to treat the symptoms. So these people are focusing on the inflammation at the joint level rather than focusing on dropping what you've been eating that is causing you the real inflammation. So these drugs are focusing on the cause, on the symptoms, rather than the cause. So drugs will never help you recover from gouty arthritis. Another one is that when you have high content of uric acid in your blood, and then when you have gout, your blood is highly acidic. Why is this a lie? The kidneys have a role in regulation of pH. So the kidneys either reabsorb or filter out hydrogen ions. Once you filter out hydrogen ions, this is what is considered as the acid. So this is a role. Acid-base balance and electrolyte balance is a function of the kidney. So if you have a failing kidney, then you get into acidosis. You might also get into alkalosis. So this is not as a result of high uric acid. This is as a result of kidney problems, sugar. And then go on a low-fat diet. Saturated fats are being demonized for causing gout. That is not true. All of you know that in this channel we encourage you to consume animal fat, which are also saturated fats. The ghee, the tallow, the sweat, the coconut oil, the avocado oils. Use them to cook your meats. What you're supposed to drop is the inflammatory seed oils and I'll sing to you this until you get it. Drop those vegetable oils that are highly inflammatory to your system. That's how you start to recover. So the truth about this is that gout is as a result of systemic and also local inflammation. And where are we getting inflammation? We realized in the video that we posted about fixing the gut, or the gut fix, we realized that systemic inflammation starts from a messed up gut. So if you've been consuming those inflammatory foods, the sugar, the seed oils, the wheat products, the processed meals, that those foods are actually messing up the grains. They're actually messing up your gut. Once they mess up your gut, you've already initiated the process of inflammation. So you'll end up getting into gout. Also, systemic inflammation is caused by insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is the mother of the metabolic syndrome. And when you have insulin resistance, your blood insulin levels are going up. Okay, because the insulin is not being utilized, not sensitive to the receptors. Even though the pancreas continues to produce this insulin, you're not utilizing it adequately, and therefore the levels of insulin go up in blood as you continue having systemic inflammation. And then one other thing is the fructose. Now it's called the fruit sugar. Fructose is not metabolized like glucose. So fructose is the only sugar that goes directly to the liver and is converted to triglycerides, the TGs. These are basically fats. So you're already initiating the process of fatty liver. That means you will have a problem in metabolism of the uric acid, because you need to metabolize it by the liver, through the liver, for you to excrete it through the kidneys. So if you have a failing liver, then tell us how you will start to recover from this condition. And that tells you have to fix your liver through dropping fructose, the fruits, the honey, the soft drinks, and the processed foods that have high fructose corn syrup. Read the labels and you'll see that. Then above all, increased insulin, which is just insulin resistance, is the major cause here. So also, one thing that people are not mentioning and is so prone is alcohol. Every time you're taking beer. And this is a problem, because most of you take beer and meat, and then you blame the meat instead of blaming the beer. Beer has high content of purines. Beer causes a fatty liver. Beer causes acute pancreatitis. Beer causes insulin resistance. And therefore, all that is associated with the beer. But nobody wants to blame the beer, because you want to enjoy your beer and unwind, unfortunately. But you will not blame it. You will not blame the beer. You will start blaming the red meat that you ate. So you start telling us, I ate a lot of roasted meat, then I drank my beer. But the beer is not causing me any problem. What is causing me the problem is that red meat, because the doctor said. And unfortunately, you are drinking in the same bar with your doctor. So how do you expect your doctor to defend meat and not to defend alcohol? He will do that, because also he wants you back as a customer. And then there's a misconception that coffee causes you problems with uric acid. And if you consume too much coffee, and I don't know how much is too much. If you consume too much coffee, you will end up getting gout. This is a lie. Enjoy your coffee. The issue is in alcohol. The issue is in sugar. So enjoy your coffee. So basically, if you have not grasped anything in this video, I want you to take these steps. If you have gout, if you have a relative who is suffering from gouty arthritis and you want them to recover from this condition, listen to this. Step number 1, let them drop alcohol. Alcohol is detrimental to your health in general. You do not need alcohol. There is no unwinding through alcohol. So drop alcohol in all forms, be it wine, be it beer, be it spirits, be it whatever type of alcohol. The alcohol content, the percentage in that drink is what brings you the problems. So drop alcohol in all forms. Number 2, if you're obese, if you're overweight, it's time to start dropping your weight. You're exerting a lot of pressure on your joints. You are actually into insulin resistance, because that weight is coming as a result of accumulation of fat, which is bringing you the insulin resistance. So you need to stop and start dropping that weight. And how do you drop your weight? You need to lower insulin. How do you lower insulin? You need to start fasting and go on a low carbohydrate diet. Also, reduce or kill basically those inflammatory foods that I mentioned in these channels every day. Seed oils, wheat products, processed foods, sugar, and fruits in all forms, including the GMO foods. Avoid them, drop them, because they cause insulin resistance through high content of fructose. Do not consume processed foods. Prefer whole foods. You can also go on a healthy keto or a clean keto diet, which is basically high fatty protein, high animal fat, and vegetables. You can also do a dirty keto, very low carbohydrates. Carnivore diets can also help you, and bunting will also help you. And then lower your insulin. So what I've just mentioned will actually help you lower your insulin. That will help you lower your obesity or your weight. That will help you recover from kidney problems. And that will start fixing your gout. Okay? Above all, drop the drugs. These drugs, they are not helpful. They're just symptoms being fixed, but they don't fix the cause. So fix the kitchen. Also, magnesium and potassium supplements, you can get them from the pharmacy, or you can also consume them through foods like nuts, like spinach, fermented cabbage, the liver, the eggs. You can get these, avocados. All these have the magnesium and potassium that you require to help you recover from this. And above all, ketone bodies, the best energy sources of the body. Ketone bodies are fighters of inflammation. So ketone bodies will help you fight cancer, at the same time help you fight inflammation. Because remember also, cancer spreads faster in inflamed tissues. That tells you that this inflammation, if you start fasting, because you need to get these ketones from fasting, if you start fasting, the prolonged periodic fast, possibly 36, 48, and 72 hours, you will produce high amounts of ketones because you're now burning fat instead of burning carbohydrates or glycogen. Once you start burning that fat, you produce ketone bodies, which are healthy energy sources of the body, and they are anti-inflammatory. So the body uses ketone bodies to fight inflammation. How amazing is that? And fasting is free. You need to start fasting for you to get ketone bodies. You can also get ketone bodies through healthy keto diets. So this is gout. If you've learned something in this video, kindly subscribe. Also share these videos. Press that notification bell so that anytime we bring you a brilliant health idea, you are among the first people to be notified.